Right. Thank you guys so much for joining this episode of The Construct. We have a special guest today. We have Michaelah Montgomery here today. How are you doing today?
I am fabulous. How are you?
I'm doing great. And for my audience that may not know who you are, can you give us a little bit of introduction of who you are and what do you do?
I am a former Trump surrogate. Most people know me as the Chick-fil-A girl. I also gave a speech at Georgia State when Trump came to Atlanta back in August, last August, not this past August, but last August. And, it just blew up. And ever since then, your favorite news stations have been calling me for political commentary. And I currently serve as the Director of Executive Operations at the Joseph Rainey Center for Public Policy, which is a right of center think tank based right here in DC.
Wow, you accomplished
I'm
so much already. And how old are you, if you mind me asking?
29.
You, s- and you're still in the prime of your life, I see.
Very much so. So.
Beautiful, beautiful. I wanted to get a little bit into your story, because I understand that you are in the political realm, and that's what made me found you on social media. And I wanted to ask you directly, what was there a moment that pushed you into political commentary, or did it just happen gradually into your life?
Well, I've always been like into politics, I guess. I watched the news a lot with my dad growing up, so it's like, mm, you know? So, I can't necessarily say something like just made me wanna do the news. Maybe it was my dad always telling me I could do that. When we watched the news, he would be like, "Kayla, you could do that." So, but yeah, I was on the debate team all through high school. And so, like, I had to give my political commentary for trophies. So, now I don't do it for as cool reasons, but I mean, it's the same thing, just a different name.
That's awesome. And do you feel your life has changed since your content started going viral? Since I guess because I know you from the other video that we'll talk about later on, but I guess even the Chick-fil-A video. Do you feel like your content and your life has changed since then after you went viral?
Well, I wasn't necessarily a content girly, and I still have yet to hop in my content bag for real, because I'm like so interesting. And people keep asking me, where's the podcast? Where's the YouTube? And I'm like,
Yeah,
I don't know if I like y'all that much. So, So, I the only thing that's, like, really changed is, like, people recognizing me in public that I don't know. I was literally just talking to a friend today about it, how I was just, out and about in Idaho, and somebody recognized me. I was walking around in Las Vegas, and somebody recognized me. Um, in DC, standing outside of Joe's, I ran into an old classmate and somebody riding by on a scooter recognized me. Like, that kinda stuff is, like, still insane to me, but other than that, like, I'm still Kayla. And I mean, like, I will say, like, the floodgates really opened up for me, like, lots of opportunities. Because I think the thing is, it was never that, like, I wasn't good enough or I wasn't talented enough, it's just that people didn't know who I was. And so it pretty much catapulted me in a way that really helped me gain the visibility that I needed to secure a lot of the opportunities that were already there for me. I just didn't know where to get them and they didn't know how to find me. But thanks to big old Daddy T, everybody knows me and it's like it's still lipstick on my teeth. It's still insane to know, but like it's fun at times, but it's still like, you can't go out and party and have fun and woo, party like a rock star because like now you're a public figure. You can't you can't have fun. And like I'm in my 20s, so like I had to cut it all off. So like you'll see other socialites partying and stuff like that, and that's cool and that's fun. And I do have fun, but it's not something that I guess like it's not the brand anymore. And so while right now everybody's bar hopping and having the time of their lives, I'm like, hey y'all, let's reread the 48 laws of power and discuss how we're gonna take over the world?
absolutely. So your definition of fun is more so like gaining knowledge and information and just basically like working on things that are solely gonna focus on your purpose. I guess, right?
Pretty much, but I still get ratchet, like, I'm still Kayla.
Oh, okay, for sure.
So, yeah, yeah, like, it's fun, learning is fun, I love going to events, I love seminars, I love conferences, I love museums, I love reading books, I love discussing books that I've read and other people have read, I love hearing about books I haven't read, like, I love those things. But every once in a while, you still gotta show show them you're you, you still got it, you know? So
Of course. Speaking of Big Daddy Trump, I wanted to ask you because how I found you on, I think it was on social media, probably Instagram. It was the clip where Kamala, she's talking to Shannon Sharp saying, um, Trump is never going to invite you over to dinner and whatnot. And it cuts to you with, I'm not sure if it's family or other people of your network, speaking, sitting together with Trump. And that was such a big mic drop and something that people always want to criticize Trump for when he's calling him racist, Nazi, all this, you know, propaganda stuff. I wanted to ask you, can you like um elaborate, like walk me through the behind the scenes of that moment? What brought like that moment to fruition?
Chick-fil-A made that moment happen. So, met him, loved the personality, loved the face. He was like, "Hey, you should come to Mar-a-Lago. I wanna hear more about what you do. I wanna talk to all your students that you had there with you. Come on down to my house, we'll have dinner, it'll be great." And I'm like,
Wow.
"Yeah." So, the video that you saw was him actually following through on that invitation, and they, um, paid for all of us to come down to Mar-a-Lago and we got to have dinner in Trump's private dining area, and he sat with us for 4 hours, and we all got to discuss different facets of, community issues that we felt he could address in his next administration. And he listened to everybody, he asked questions, and he said, "We're gonna do it again once he wins." So, look out for part 2.
Hey, I'm looking forward to seeing that. Um, and I wanted to get what was your immediate reaction when you first heard that quote from Kamala during that Shannon Sharp interview? I want to know what was your initial reaction when you heard that.
I immediately thought, "Oh, I'm about to say something," and that's what I did, like, literally, that clip was made as soon as I saw it, like, I saw that and I was like, "Oh, this will be funny," and it actually ended up blowing up, like, it blew up, and I was like, "Oh, wow, this is cool," and it was just a little something I did on my phone because I literally was just watching, like, think it was, like, The Shade Room or something like that, and they had
Mhm.
posted it, so I screen recorded, went ahead, made me a little reel, and all you see it was nothing but a little slideshow, and
Okay.
everybody was like, "Oh, wow, that's so cool," and, like, told a little story about how I got to bring all these HBCU students and alumni to Mar-a-Lago to sit with Trump himself, no media, just chilling. "Hey, how can I help you?" Like, a lot of people don't know him as that person, but we do, and it was an amazing experience. To this day, everybody still talks about it. I'm goated for that one, so
I'm, one of the things in this podcast, that I started, there's a couple of dream guests that I have, and Donald Trump, Kanye West, Candace Owens are definitely on that top list. So I'm a little bit jealous that you were able to have that moment with, our president, our, commander in chief. So God bless, you having that opportunity
was great.
for
It
sure.
was great. It was great, and I'm really looking forward to doing it again. So, he's a great guy. I wish everybody got a chance to experience him in that capacity, because all of this propaganda and stuff wouldn't work, and it would definitely stop.
Yeah. And why do you think that specific moment when that went viral, like resonated with so many people online?
Which one?
The the one where he was sitting with all of you together with their students.
I think because it was a clear indication that the media tells you what it wants to tell you, and
Mhm.
it tells you the story how they want you to hear it. And they will really push a narrative to try and influence you to agree with whatever it is they're trying to get you to believe. And so with Trump, they want you to think that he's racist. They want you to think that he doesn't care about you. They want you to think that you would never be invited to his home. And yet That's not true. And so I think that a lot of people, Democrat and Republican, are getting tired of the theatrics that are now consuming politics. And because of such, showcasing something like that is really like, yo, like, can we talk about the issues? Like, clearly the man's not racist. What else do you guys have to say? And I think
Mhm.
that something like that, things like that, thanks to me, this is one of the reasons why he won in November because people didn't want theatrics. People wanted to hear about the real issues. And so it's like, y'all are over here swearing he's racist and bringing up incidents from 1913. I don't know. But here I am showing you something that happened a few months ago, you know? And so it's like, and we're talking about the issues. Like we weren't just there having a party, drinking the night away. We were there talking about the issues. And for people who were really concerned about being able to put food on the table, to keep a roof over their heads, to keep gas in their car, to keep all of their things insured, you know? That's what mattered to them. So being able to see that the Democrats were really playing on their emotions rather than addressing what, voters cared about versus Trump, who was actually meeting with all kinds of members of the community. He did not discriminate at all to find out how could he best serve you as commander in chief. And I think that, of course, once again, that's why he won. But things like that is what really resonated with people. They were looking for answers. They were looking for action, and they only saw that with Trump.
Beautifully said. And what for you? What does it mean for you to be unapologetically Afro American and also politically conservative?
Well, I mean, you see the hair. One of the first things that I was told is that, Kayla, you ain't gonna be able to make it on this side with all that Afro puff stuff you got going on. And yet here I am. Wahahaha. Like I literally met the president with booty length long pink locks. Like y'all could never tell me nothing. And so I think that for me, I would like to represent like the fact that you can be you, stay true to who you are, and still advocate for what you believe in. Like, I'm Kayla through and through, but Kayla doesn't believe in abortion. Kayla believes in strong borders. Kayla prioritizes education. Kayla doesn't think that anything LGBTQIA belongs in an elementary or middle school. That's what Kayla believes in. So that's how Kayla's gonna vote. And for a long time, all we had on the Republican side was like your Condoleezza Rices, your Omarosas. And while they're amazing women, thank them for paving the way for girls like me, they all had a look about them. So for a lot of young black girls who can't afford a silk press every 2 weeks, who can't afford, to put on a nice dress for every event, for the girls who, just don't think that they'll fit in because they aren't a part of that lifestyle. They don't fit this aesthetic. It's like, baby, you got girls like me. I shop at Ross. And
Ain't
it's
nothing
like
wrong with
I,
that.
I I do my own hair, and it's like people talk mess, but it's like there are girls all over who are like, oh my god, thank you, like I can be me. I don't have to straighten mine because a lot of girls like we really don't want to put heat on our hair, like that's really a thing. And so for me to be in the rooms that I'm in and I'm unapologetically Afro American, it really, I believe, is giving confidence to a lot of people who feel like they don't have a place on this side. There is no cookie cutter image for what a Republican looks like. And so for me, I think that it only brings more value to being a Black conservative because it's like, hey, you're inspiring other people to join the movement. I didn't conform to try and fit in. I made sure people knew I belonged here. And I think that that is something that a lot of other Black girls, Black boys, brown boys, yellow boys and girls, purple, blue, all of them can go ahead and take with them that you might not be like what you see, but you belong.
Beautifully said. And to kind of segue to my next question, because you're very confident, you're very well spoken as well, and you got a lot big personality on you. And
Yeah.
how important is image and presentation to young black women in politics today?
More important than it needs to be, unfortunately. As a Black woman, there are a lot of things that, like, we can't get away with. Like, I can't come to work with a messy bun. Like, this is about as messy as it can get. And even this has some form of uniform to it. So I can admit that it is a bit more taxing
Mm.
to be presentable, but not Not presentable like I have to look this way so folks will accept me. Presentable in a way where you want to look your best no matter what. And when you're in certain rooms with conservatives, like a lot of the folks who are like really high up there leadership roles, like they don't cut off access to themselves. Like they'll be walking around the room just like everybody else. And you don't want to look like somebody who like just wants something from them. Like if you're trying to pursue a career, you need to make sure that you look like somebody who will add value to the team. You need to make sure that you present yourself as somebody that they can trust. If you come in and you're just you're you can be as intelligent as you want to be, you can be as rich as you want to be, but people have brands that they're trying to build and brands that they're trying to protect. And
Yeah.
so if you come in here and you're presenting yourself as anything other than the standard for said brand, you don't have a chance at working with said brand. And you can't say that it's because people are racist or yada yada yada. It's literally because you knew better. And as black people, or I mean any minorities, I would imagine the same goes for them. But black people especially, I can speak on us because I'm black. Um, Things like your Sunday best. We all know what that is. We all know what we wearing to church. We all know what we wearing to the funeral. When you had like your first job interview or when you were going to graduation or prom, like you know exactly how to dress. You know how to get dapper. And like a lot of us, when we dress up, your confidence level goes up. And so presentation, while I hate to say that there is such an heavy emphasis on it, that's around the board. That's something where no matter what, you're gonna have to look presentable. You're gonna have to look like something somebody would want to invest in, do business with, or even listen to. And so with that, as a black girl, I will say that it does take a little bit more, because our hair doesn't just go up in a ponytail. And if we get our hair straight, it doesn't always stay that way. And if we curl our hair for an event, we will have a completely different hairstyle by the end of the event. Like these are things that, you know, a lot of folks who came before us didn't really acknowledge. I feel like with me, I'm kinda opening the door, so for girls who don't have it like that to get, a frontal done or a silk press done every 2 weeks and yada, 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 like, if you can just take care of your own hair, like a slick bun will work. Like I do buns sometimes, I do the Afro puff, but I mean like I do the weaves and the wigs and the braids and like I do it all. But like I just want black girls to know like you can be versatile in this. And that's something that the Democratic Party has embraced. Like they've had their officials and people in leadership roles with braids and afros and locks, things like that for years now. But on our side, it's always been like a very clear-cut image, and I feel like that intimidates a lot of people. And so what we're also seeing now with a lot of people coming to the Republican Party or just identifying as conservative is them realizing that, some of the environments that they grew up in or that they were exposed to or that they realize exist are not right. So a lot of people who may have grown up in the hood are not okay with the hood still being the hood, and they have recognized what people need to do in order to come out of a life of poverty and they want to go back, and help their neighborhoods. You can't do that if you don't look the part. But you also shouldn't shy away from getting into this business and being somebody who can help because you feel like you don't look the part. So it's like with the clothes, a lot of when I had my job at the state, I was only making $42,000 a year, right? But I looked like money. And everybody was like, Kayla, oh my God, like so fashionable. And those were all new clothes that I had thrifted. And it's like people go get these jobs and they think they got to run to Nordstrom or Macy's, yada, yada, yada. And they pay these exuberant prices for stuff they can find at Ross, TJ Maxx, Marshalls, or the thrift store and just get creative and put stuff together. I had on some of the cutest outfits. And they were just things that I threw together from the thrift store. And I would pair it with a nice bag. Okay, I'm good for a bag. Or I might, pair it with some cute shoes. But like overall, you don't need to spend a lot of money to fit in with a room that's full of money. And you just got to be confident enough to know that you belong there. So it's like, again, presentation matters a lot more than it should because it's not fair for different races, you know, presentation why like you have to be making a certain level of income in order to keep yourself up if
Yeah.
you're a black girl and that's just the truth. The same doesn't go for white girls or white guys, you know?
Mm,
If you're Hispanic or Italian, Italians even like the humidity gets their hair really curly. So like we all have to do different things that require a little extra maintenance. But I just feel like as black people, it takes a lot of extra maintenance. A
yeah.
lot, you know? And so just the hair alone, like you used to be able to go get your hair done in somebody's living room for $50. Those days are done. So it's like now you can't get your hair done for less than $300. In this economy, unfortunately, a lot of people don't have $300 to spare on their hair. That's money they need to spend on food. That's money they need to spend on gas. That's money they need to spend on childcare. So it's like I do feel bad that a lot of, black people coming up who are recognizing the issues in their community, who are realizing that their local elected officials are lying to them, are, giving them hope and promising them things that they never plan to deliver on. And they get up and they're like, man, you know what? I need to do something about this. And then they, maybe start watching podcasts like this, or they just start tuning into Fox News, or they find a conservative content creator and they just start learning new things. And now they want to come to events, but they don't own a suit. Why? Because they live in the ghetto and they have a family that doesn't really care. That's not their fault. They want to do better. So we have
Mhm.
to do a better job at making it known that you belong here. You can show up as you are and we'll help you get out of whatever little fickle pickle, whatever it is that you're in. And then you'll be able to go ahead and get you some money and put that shit on. Oh, can I say that? Sorry. But,
It's fine.
mm,
And I think no, I completely agree with everything you're saying, and um, I feel there's a sense of more how can I say it? Like there's more stress when it comes to black women, when it comes like more pressure, I guess, to be presentable, not be a certain way, not look a certain way. And um I guess it kind of trends I think my point is that it's important to always never forget where you came from, but it doesn't necessarily need to define who you are, right? Where like if you grew up in the hood and you decide to get out of that lifestyle, like you don't need that to define your life, but like you said, like you might want to level up and be in a certain position so that way you could help those in your community that you grew up with. And it takes unfortunately a little bit of like, presenting yourself a certain way to even get yourself into those rooms. Would you agree with that?
mm, yes and no, because my
Mhm,
first event, I was a broke college student. My glasses was broke. I had tape on my glasses. I colored over it, scotch tape. I colored over
mhm,
it with a black marker, Sharpie, because I didn't want nobody to see it. My glasses had black rims. I had borrowed money from people to buy a dress from Ross because I didn't even have $30 to spare. And I was like, I need to make sure that I look right. I didn't think that anything in my closet was gonna look right, and I was freaking out. And then,
mhm,
like, I went and bought, like, these big block heels that were, like, kinda short because I was like, "I don't think I can wear stilettos, like, that's too sexy, yada, yada, yada," and that's the only kinda heels I had because I was going to the club with my friends. So, and then I show up, and I still was approached by Janelle Jones, who is now Janelle King, and she invited me to an event, and she became my mentor, and we're going on, like, 7 years strong. And then, I met, this man named Rufus Montgomery, who immediately, took me under his wing as well and gave me a slew of books to read, and, like, it was, like, every week he would be like, "Read this, don't call me back till it's done." And then I would call him back and be like, "Hey, I read the book," and it would immediately be a pop quiz, like, he's a tough one, but he's great. And so it's like to me, I did not look the part. Like how I looked at my first 2, maybe even 3 events. No, definitely my first 3 events, I did not look the part. But I was still like, "Hey, y'all, this is what I do." It's the confidence that gets you through there. And then also, like,
mm.
I didn't smell funky, I wasn't musty, I didn't smell like weed, you feel me? Teeth was brushed, and so it's like I didn't necessarily have the resources to, like, like, my hair didn't look like this, like, it was a bushy puff, like, it was not neat because I wanna get money, you feel me? I ain't know what worked on this. I ain't have money to try stuff out. I could just use what I'd used my whole life even though it didn't work. So, it's like, at one point in time, I wasn't even, like, presentable per se.
So do you feel that black conservatives are misunderstood?
Absolutely. Again, just the misconception that you have to look or be a certain way in order to, fit in, come to our events, identify with the groups, join the coalition, yada, yada, yada. That's already a common misconception. Then, of course, they're racist. They hate poor people. They hate gays, none of which are true. They hate
Mhm.
immigrants, none of which are true. So, we're definitely misunderstood by like a lot, but it is what it is. All we can do is continue to do things like this, where we explain ourselves, we explain our viewpoints, and we hope that people get a different perception. We just hope that people can be open minded and understand that, oh, I get why they feel that way. Because nobody is going to go through, if you have 30 people go through the same traumatic experience, not all 30 people are going to come out the same way. Some people are going to heal from it. Some people are going to hold on to it. Some people aren't going to make it through it, In which case, you have to be the same way when it comes to politics. Not all of us have lived the same life. Therefore, our
Mhm.
experiences have shaped our political identities. And all you can do is understand where the next person is coming from.
I beautifully said. I completely agree because your backstory, your upbringing could be completely different from myself or a white person, an Indian, Hispanic, like whoever, right? But we're all gonna could take things a certain way differently. But some of us, even though our upbringings might be different, could still align with certain things, whether you're on the conservative side or the liberal side. You know what I'm saying? So, um, do you feel your friends and family, do they, 'cause I noticed that when people are conservative, right, they tend to just be judgmental and just, like, cast you out and say, "Oh my god, like, I'm not gonna be friends with you because you believe in this." Have you ever had any challenges, with friends or family understanding your political point of view?
No, because I've been crazy my whole life. So, like, when I just do something that was like out of the ordinary or something that nobody expected, i.e., me with Trump hugging him on the news, it was like, that's right up Kayla alley. I can't even say nothing. My parents, not Trumpers at all. My parents are, Dems, been Dems their whole life. That's how they raised me to be. But when
Uh-oh.
they saw me on TV with them, they was like, "Damn, Kayla, we guess you done found somebody as crazy as you, huh?" And I was like, "Yep, me and Uncle Donnie, we taking it through there." And it's funny because, like, even though they're not conservatives. They're very conservative. They're literally extremely conservative. I am the way I am because of them. They're too old school, very old. Let me not say that because I got friends their age now. That's crazy. But they're older people from the South. Like my parents are from Louisiana in the
Mhm.
60s, Louisiana. They're conservatives. But since they experienced racism and the racists identified with the Republican Party, of course, that is ingrained in their brains that that's where the racists lie. And so while I
Mhm.
understand where it comes from, it's still like, hey, y'all, we're in 2025 now. Okay. Those guys who were terrorizing you as children, they're dead now. So, like, I hate to be the one to say it, but I say that to say, even with that, right? Whenever I would do a news hit, I would call my parents and be like, hey, y'all, turn your TVs on. I'm going to be on Jesse Waters, or I'm going to be on Laura Ingraham, or I'm on Fox and Friends. And my dad would walk around the neighborhood. And anybody with a Trump sign in their yard, he'd knock and say, hey, make sure you turn on the news. My daughter going to be on TV. So like they don't agree with it, but they're very supportive of me. And it's just like, again, I was a nationally ranked debater. Like I'm great at what I do, as people unfortunately had to learn the hard way. You saw it. But I say that to say, um, because I guess that, I see both sides and I am really good at explaining myself. And I've always been somebody who's big on, let me see the information. Let me tell you why I believe what I believe in. Here's my 3 points. Because if any real debaters see this, I'm going to give them the claim, the warrant, and the impact. Okay. I'm coming with contention one, contention two, contention three. I might even have a value and value of criterion. Listen. Only real debaters would get that. Forensicators, shout outs to y'all. But nobody, I only experienced backlash from like people I went to school with who just wanted clout. Like, Everybody that I
Mm.
went to school with was there when I took my internship with the GAGOP. Everybody in the political science department had taken classes with me in which I identified as a Republican. I would raise my hand in class and be like, well, I work with the Republicans and they told me this. Or I'm conservative now and I believe this. Or why aren't we going to address this part of the argument as well? Like I was always raising questions in class. And so nobody hated me for it. Everybody thought it was interesting. They would be like, oh, wow, Kayla, you fuck with Trump. Oh, sorry. They were like, "Oh,
It's okay.
Kayla, wow, you like Trump?" And I'd be like, "Yes." And they'd be like, "How did that happen? What's going on?" It wasn't a, "Oh my God, I can't believe you like Trump. You're a racist. You hate women." I was like, dang, like I didn't have that. I guess I was part of the last class, one of the last classes that actually engaged in, intellectual discourse. We should be able to critically think and criticize without it going like this. But again, that's the debater in me. Like, I can hear your point of view, I can give you my point of view, and I'm not going to get mad. I can respect your opinion, I can respect your feelings, I can respect your life experiences. But for whatever reason, folks on the left have a really hard time doing that,
Yeah.
even though they promote themselves as the party of all of those things.
And it's funny you mentioned that because I did a video on my channel talking about Nicki Minaj, and she spoke at the United Nations 2 days
Yeah.
ago, and because she was I think she was like the first like celebrity really that I noticed that really thanked Trump for acknowledging the Christians that were being killed in Nigeria,
Uh-huh.
and I've seen a lot of support for her, and her using her platform not just to get clout and money and all this stuff, right? Which she could, from her rap career, but I was giving her a big compliment because she used her platform to raise awareness of something that she believed in, and I just found that to be very powerful. And I saw a lot of people on the left saying, "Oh, Nicki Minaj, she's this and that. Like she's a the left. They be throwing out these ad hominem
Yeah,
attacks and
anybody
everything."
on the left who was surprised that Nikki came out and supported Trump, anybody on the left or anybody period who's coming out now acting like this is so out of character for Nicki Minaj to be in support of Trump. Nicki Minaj was anti-COVID vaccine and was one of the first and only voices in urban media, our big voices in urban media, who was telling us not to take the vaccine and was telling about the side effects that the other media outlets were trying to bury, i.e., how it would enlarge men's testicles and cause some of them to die. She also hates abortion. Don't know if
Mhm.
any of you guys know this, but if you're a real fan of Nicki Minaj, she has an entire song called Autobiography, in which she discusses how much she regrets getting an abortion. If you guys actually love Nicki Minaj and you pay attention to pop culture and you remember how her and Megan the Stallion had gotten into it a little whiles ago, if you were paying attention, you remember that Nicki Minaj said one of the things that really pissed her off and made her want to leave Megan alone immediately was when they were on the set of Hot Girl Summer and Megan was trying to encourage Nikki to drink. Nikki told Megan that she was pregnant. Megan encouraged her to get an abortion.
Mm,
Nikki
dang.
was pissed off and she never messed with Megan again. That's why you never saw them together again after that. Like, y'all can't talk to me. See, they be acting like conservatives are out of the loop. I'm Kayla. I know what's up. So it's like the people who are out here acting like what Nicki Minaj just did is out of character, out of whack, so disgusting, so horrendous they can't believe it. Those aren't real fans. And if anything, those are bots or paid influencers to get people to disagree with her because Nicki Minaj has a huge platform. Imagine if Nicki Minaj was able to go ahead and change the trajectory, the way of how some of these young black women are coming up. Unfortunately, they are looking at the sexy reds and they are looking at,
Yep.
the not so classy females. And while
Hmm.
Nicki Minaj isn't necessarily the epitome of class, she does have a standard. She does demand respect. She is a businesswoman and she does have values that she stands on. And she's been that way from the beginning. And so it's like, imagine if you had a bunch of young women who were okay with saying, hey, I don't agree with abortion, instead of letting all of these girls around them pressure them into thinking that this demonic practice is okay. Imagine if we had all of these young women saying, hey, we should have questioned the vaccine. Like these people lied to us about COVID. We should be pissed off. We're investigating the wrong people. They forced us to inject ourselves with some experiment, and they told us that we weren't going to have jobs if we did it. We were going to get kicked out of school if we didn't do it. Some people, they threatened to take away their kids if they didn't get them. And it's like, oh my God. Imagine if you had a voice like Nicki Minaj awakening her fan base to things like that. Oh my, they'd be done. So they had to immediately start paying people to say, hey, Nicki Minaj is a traitor. And it's like, you can't say that to a real barb because a real barb will let you know Nicki don't like abortion. Nicki did not like the vaccine. Nicki loved her God. Hmm. So I wasn't surprised. I knew it was going to happen. I was saying that we should tap into Nicki Minaj on the campaign. I was actually discussing with the
Oh,
Buckhead
wow.
Young Republicans back in Atlanta, shout outs to Harrison, about doing an event with Nicki Minaj because this is coming off of COVID when she was very vocal about how she didn't like how they were pushing this on us and how she had seen things and how it had, victimized other people and she didn't want that for others. And so it was like, yeah, we should do something with her. And I've been knew she was a Republican. If it's a surprise to you, you ain't a real fan. And if you ain't a real fan, you really don't have no room to talk.
Exactly. No, completely agree. And I'm curious now. Is there someone? Because I could tell you, if you're ever on like the debate stage, you will completely like give actual
Obliterate.
facts.
Yes, absolutely. Obliterate, incinerate, done. Yeah.
Is there a dream person, whether on the left or the right, that you would want to debate?
Right now, Jasmine Crockett.
Oh, I would pay money to watch that. I would
And
love
that's
to see
only
that.
because, like, I get her angle. And I feel like the conservatives that she comes after don't get her angle. You see the mannerisms. Me and Jasmine could go at it. Like, girl, you're not blacker than me. So let's go ahead, let's straighten our necks and let's address the facts.
Uh-huh.
Okay? Let's leave the insults out of there because you can't say nothing about me being bleached, blonde, bad built, none of that. Because I can say the same thing about you now. We're both black. Can't say nothing about my hair. So what's up, sis? Let's actually debate about what your party is advocating for, what my party is advocating for. Let's discuss how you just tried to put these two large donors to Trump on Jeffrey Epstein, not even knowing that it was an actual doctor named Jeffrey Epstein. He just happened to have the same name as the convicted pedophile, yet you refuse to address the Democratic senator who was texting Jeffrey Epstein while on the dais. Let's go ahead and discuss how you're over here talking about how all MAGA women have a certain look, right? And how they use gender affirming procedures, i.e., BBLs, lip enhancements, Botox. That's gender enhancement. See, the difference is if I want a BBL, if I want Botox, if I want a lip enhancer, I have to pay for it with my own money. Yet, for whatever reason, these transgenders can go, a man can get a boob job on my tax dollars. But if I want to go from a B to a D, I got to come up with my own $6,000. Something's not right about that. So tell me, Jasmine Crockett, how I, as a black woman who cannot undergo cosmetic surgery on the next person's dime, would advocate that somebody who feels like they were born in the wrong body should be able to go ahead and get a surgery on my dime. I feel like I should have been born in Beyonce's body. So y'all gonna have to go ahead and cough it up until I look like Beyonce. Actually, I want to take it a step further. I feel like I should have been born in Miracle Watts's body. And I will not stop laying on that table until I have achieved all the measurements that make Miracle Watts the miracle that she is. And if anybody has a problem with that, they need to take it up with the Democratic Party. Because I now identify as trans baddie, and I
Uh-huh.
want all of y'all to go ahead and support my transition. Thank you.
Mic drop. Love it.
Can we make the
Um,
next question the last one? I hate to cut it early.
that's fine.
All right. Make it
No
good.
pressure, right? Um, what uh I guess we can end it on this. What do you have set for yourself for the year 2026? Any big plans, anything that you want to try to get out there, and, or a specific message that you want to, put out there for the year 2026 moving forward?
I would just tell the people who love and support me to know that I ain't done yet. I know that folks probably felt neglected this year. I was really getting my footing, getting things set up. Y'all can expect a lot more content, a lot more media hits from me. Y'all can expect to see me at a lot more events. I'll start speaking, y'all, I promise. What I plan to be very active in the midterms. I do think that we really have to hit the ground and we have to be very, very strategic about securing the control that we have maintained in the House and the Senate. We need to continue to maintain such. And then also, you know, this outcome of 26 will basically be a forecast to 28. And so really next year is really just going to be me really hitting the ground running, getting ready to sprint all the way into a convention in 27 in 28. So y'all are just going to see more of me. That's all I can tell you. I can't give you no details, but just be ready to see more of me.
And where can people follow and support you?
I am Miss Kayla Baby on everything. So that is MISSKAYLAABABII. That's on Instagram, Twitter. Oop, I'm telling my age, X, and TikTok.